When it's on, it's off, and when it's off, it's on. So tonight, these are your candidates, Hamilton East, who are standing for your first preference vote this local body by-election. But with every election, there's one thing stepping in their way, and that's your number one vote. And kia ora, good evening. Camera 2, please. Yep, that's the one I want. So welcome to the second half of the It's in the Ballot Hamilton East Ward by-election show. And thank you for Hamilton for welcoming us back again. Now, before we get to the reveal of the candidates, Roger Stone has not made himself available. He has decided to publicly sit there and... Roger Stratford, sorry. Yeah, who's Roger?
Roger Stone is Donald Trump's advisor.
Sorry.
Roger Stratford is the individual who couldn't make it tonight.
Yes. Okay, so Roger, I think we need to set a couple of things straight here because I don't like bullshit. And I'll sit there and say that. You have not made a phone call to Jill. You have not sent any emails. All you've communicated to was through a Google form with chopping and changing times. If you turned up here at 4 o'clock today, we would have had you on. You could have sat there and rang Jill. You could have sat there and flicked her an email. She's been very responsive. There's a couple of candidates who have had great responses over here today. So, but you chose not to communicate with us and then say, we're the poor ones at communication. Well, when you say that, I will call bullshit on it. And thank you for giving us that right for doing that. So let's get to the big reveal. Who the hell is trying to ring me? Oh, well, it's not important because, it's time to sit down and have the show. I think I know who it is, but yeah, besides that point, we'll get to our big reveal. Tony, would you like to reveal yourself? And just say, hi, I'm Tony.
Hi, I'm Tony.
Okay. Anna.
Hi, I'm Anna.
Now, you're going to have to tell me, was it Horiana? Yep. Would you like to reveal yourself?
Surprise, I'm Horiana.
Jack?
Jacobus. Hello, I'm back.
Okay, and I'm just trying to, as I'm seeing through there now, Tania, we do have a little bit difference here. Tania, would you like to reveal yourself? Well, Tania's husband.
I'm her husband.
Yes, Tania couldn't make it tonight, and what's your name? Guy. Thank you for stepping in on behalf of Tania tonight. Yeah, Jose?
Kia ora, this is Jose, your candidate for the Hamilton East Ward.
And Marie-Claire? I want to make sure I get that one right.
Kia ora, I'm Marie-Claire LEPINA.
I think there is definitely a missing mic somewhere in the pattern. Okay, I think that explains. Yes, I know. I talked about that before, and they all told me they had mics. Thank you, Stacey, on that one. So yes, we will get pass the mic down, which was not intended in the consequence, but everyone should have a microphone in their hand. Okay, so we'll get to candidates' opening statements, and we'll kick off with Tony, since he's the closest to me, on why the Hamilton East voters should get your first preference vote.
Kia ora koro. Hello everyone, I'm Tony Tang. I want to become the councillor because this city needs change. The city state is reaching a very dangerous level. It's time for me to make my contribution. Cut the spending and budget control has been almost every candidate's slogan for many, many years. It's not new, and apparently it hasn't been working well because it's so easy to point fingers at others and say we're so sick of your irresponsible spending. And it's even easier to say no to lots of proposals and stop spending. But it is not a solution. Our city needs a growth. The infrastructure needs fund. Fight the climate change, road safety, sports field, everything needs money. That's why I'm here. We need to be open-minded, think outside of the square, get out of the comfort zone. Time for the significant change before it's too late. Thank you.
Okay, next up, Anna, your opening statement.
Like many of you, I have genuine concerns at decisions currently being made in Hamilton City. The current council doesn't have the balance it needs for good democracy, and we're living with the impact of this now. This by-election must restore that balance, or we will continue to see similar decisions being made. Our city is a small business economy centred around family. To flourish, we must keep the city moving forward, and that's without speed bumps, road cones, or bus stops in the middle of the road at every turn. We need to reduce city debt, and we need to live within our means. So to be clear, I support clear and transparent communication, core services delivered well, our business economy, arts and events, all forms of transport equally, and 2 hours free parking in the CBD. I will not support wasteful spending, planned congestion, or dipping into ratepayer pockets as the default position. Council decisions are making it hard for our economy to do what it needs to do, and without a thriving economy, we don't have a thriving city, which is why I am asking for your vote, Anna Smart as your #1 candidate.
Thank you for that. Was it Horiana, your opening statement?
Kia ora, I'm Horiana Henderson. I'm asking for your #1 vote. The East Ward is my family's home and I'm worried. Council is continuing spending spree despite $850 million worth of debt and inability to balance the books. When the majority of councillors rejected a proposal to defer $100 million of planned expenditure on non-essentials and then voted to increase rates 50% over 3 years, along with other charges, I felt compelled to stand. Because, to quote another concerned Hamiltonian, people are hurting. If elected, my immediate focus will be in identifying costs in the long-term plan that can be deferred, reduced, and cut, and to advocate for residents to ensure that rates increases are based on the essentials. Council spending and debt must be reined in. The people must be listened to and represented on council. Let me represent you. Vote 1, Horiana Henderson for Hamilton East.
Thank you for that. Was it Jacobus or Jack? Which one do you prefer to go by?
Jacobus, progenitor of Israel. Okay, well, I am standing as an anti-corruption officer exposing fraudulent borrowing, 1 million a week on the interest alone. So I'm stepping out BlackRock and the multi-corporates, because that's what's going to happen. We'll be enslaved by them. We are free sovereigns endowed with rights by our creator. We are not slaves controlled by the global elite. I will be for, this is what I intend to do, responsible spending, not spending on the wrong projects and so forth. Business development, I will personally represent all the businesses around town. And community consultation, I'll be available 24/7 to understand what the community really wants. So I'm standing as a sovereign and the voice of the people. Vote for Jack Gielen for Hamilton East. Thank you.
Okay, Guy, your opening statement on behalf of Tania.
Okay, on the behalf of Tania, she apologises for not being there because she is crook at the moment. She asked me to step in for her and I said yes. Oh, I'm not sleeping on the couch. Anyway, she is very passionate in what she does. She has been a early childhood teacher, retail assistant, as well as a business owner. She is deeply saddened with the spending that's out of control with HCC. She wants to make a change. She wants better infrastructure and better crime prevention. She also said that Eastbourne needs someone to stand up for the community and their issues. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Jose?
Tēnā koutou katoa. My name is Jose Gonzalez and I'm standing for the Hamilton East Ward. I stood in 2022 for the West Ward. Closest from getting elected, I came 9th. It was my first time running through grassroots and community sort of campaign base. And it was great to see a lot of people supporting me then. And, you know, it gave me the drive to come back and stand again in front of you this time around in the by-election for the East Ward. I'm standing because I believe that our city can be a safe place with a thriving economy, with a top-notch transport network, revitalized public spaces, and also supported by excellent council services. I have worked in local government for about 6 years, both in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland Council, and also in the Waikato Regional Council, so I understand local government inside and out. It is quite rare for local government workers to run. Most of my colleagues ask me, why on earth would you want to run to be an elected member when you see the lack of quality and competency of some of our elected members? And that is my drive. I really want to make our community and our city a better place. In terms of finances, I believe that we can maintain our infrastructure better, we can maintain levels of service better, we can get more out of contractors, more out of professional services, and we can also leverage central government partnerships a lot better. Our city is forecasted to grow to 300,000 people by 2050, and central government wants to accommodate a lot of housing supply in this city. They need to front up with the money, whether that's financial contributions, or whether that's infrastructure funding and financing, whether that's crown appropriations, whether that's partnerships. We need to look at that, but that's one way to address the city's financial situation. Hamilton is a great place to live, but I believe we can make it even better. So come election day, first choice to say, yes way, Jose.
Okay, and Marie-Claire, your opening statement.
Kia ora, jambo, namaste, bonjour, assalamu alaikum. I am Marie-Claire LEPINA. I'm your candidate, number 1, because I bring diversity in the council. I'm a mother of 5. I've been in Kirikiroa for 24 years. I raised my beautiful children here. We are all contributing to the New Zealand economy. As an early childhood teacher, a community advisor, and also a catalyst for change. We want to change the way the city looks like. When I arrived in New Zealand in 1999, we lived in a city. The city was clean. Now, when you go around town, we see a lot of homeless, young people involved in crime. People with disability have no place to stay. I recalled one of my parents in the early childhood center have a cry. She said, I don't have no place to take my child for holiday program because no holiday program will accept my child because he's a runner. He can climb and leave. That's why nobody can take my child. And I'm here to say it's a council for everyone. People with disability, children with disability will have a place. People who look different will need to have a place in the city. We don't want our young people to be involved in crime. We want to give them second chance education. We want an equity fund. Equity fund, that's where the school will use to give a second chance education for our young people to stop them becoming a gangster. If you want a candidate to bring people, open council meeting to understand why the council debt is increased, we are here for you. But the council for the people, with the people, by the people. They increased the rate 25%.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kia ora.
Yes, Ian forgot to put the timer on and then you're running over.
Kia ora. I want to say, etangata. The council for the people, by the people. Kia ora.
And thank you, candidates, for the opening statement there. And I will have to sit there and say one thing. I feel privileged this year I get to celebrate 2 anniversary days, but we better be careful here because you never know. Christopher Luxon might actually make a bill to get rid of Auckland Anniversary Day because, you know, as we hear, 0.4% of the wage bill is enough to sit there and see the business under, but 30 cents increase in the price of diesel doesn't. You know, some businesses do work on stupid logic, but, you know, that's just one of those things there. So how it's in the ballot works here is each of these candidates here have been given a list of questions that are in the boxes that have been submitted by members of the public, and there are some very good questions there. With it, we go one by one through the candidates who get to sit there and put their box numbers. Now, each candidate has 2 button cards. When a button card is to be used is when, say, a candidate who wants to put an answer to that question and they didn't pick that box can button and give their answer and sit there and do it. They also will get 1 minute to do it. Now, once they use up their button cards, they can't button anymore. They also a card called defer defer card. Now, I recommend if you're going to use a defer card, you do it to someone not here. Roger's a great example. And that's just me. I'd say, you don't do it for Jenny, Tim, or John because they participated in the earlier show. That's the only other thing there. So if that happened, so if you want to use a defer card, you can always use it to them. It's a bit of a cheeky way to sit there and do that. Now, I have a list here of in a random order, so we're going to put things in a bit of a juggling up of a different order of how we do things here. There's none of this left to right, right to left stuff. And Horiana, you get to choose the first box number. What box number would you like?
Te kauma whitu. 17.
Oh, well, that's very good.
Right, so this is question F for Freddie. For roads that carry more than 6,000 daily traffic movements, Waka Kotahi, or the New Zealand Land Transport Authority for National Party voters, recommended having a separated cycle lane on a carriageway. If you had to vote for having separated cycleway or free parking for parked cars, how would you vote and why?
Okay. Assuming this is referencing the CBD's 2 hours free parking, my understanding is that the amount of lost revenue is around the cost of 1 or 2 speed humps. One could also argue that there will be a more significant loss in revenue if the heart of our city becomes a ghost town full of empty shops because businesses have been forced to move or close down because customer numbers decrease as a result of people choosing other shopping destinations where parking is free, such as at the base or Chartwell. Only 1% of trips in Hamilton are made by bike. NZTA has been instructed to pool funding for mode shift projects, so council will have to meet the full cost of these already expensive infrastructure projects. Based on the cost and the city's current $850 million debt, if you were looking at either or, you would have to go with the 2 hours free parking in the CBD.
And Anna would like to butt in.
I work very early, so I hope I don't regret this later. But I just actually want to answer that question with, in what world is that a choice? Like, in what way do we have to choose between separated cycleways or free parking for parked cars? Like, actually, there's design benefits of providing both of those. Cycleways need to be going into new subdivisions. It's an absolute priority to make sure that we are future-proofing that multimodal, but it doesn't need to be at the expense of parked cars. And I think good design and good planning is a world where we get both of those.
And Jose would also like to butt in.
Cool. I don't think neither of the other candidates answered the question. They're talking about arterial roads, not subdivisions. These are 6,000 vehicle movements a day. Those are busy roads like Clyde Street, like Anglesey Street. So those are part of our frequent transit network. Those are key accessibility corridors to get to employment, to move to school, to get to your university, or to get to family, or to see friends. In my opinion, those corridors are definitely wide enough. We can deliver multimodal outcomes. We can deliver off-road cycle infrastructure within the formed road corridor, but at the same time retain parking for residents and for essential services or businesses. My view is that they do fall under future transport networks, and they are part of every city's parking strategy. Road reallocation spaces are in Auckland, overseas, whatever city you look at, they have them. We need to benchmark ourselves against the best, and we need to start looking into the future. All this talk about, road users, car users versus public transport users or cyclists, it is actually not productive. I think we should be looking at how we can leverage our infrastructure to deliver outcomes for everyone. And I think that's where the solutions lie. And in my view, we can deliver for both. So yeah, that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay, Anna, you get to choose the next box number. What box would you like?
27, please. None of this orderly thing.
No. I've got a lovely list that tells me what, and every time we go for a new round, we gives us a new order. You can thank MP Greg O'Connor for that.
Right, this is question O for orange, like the card. And to be honest, it doesn't actually relate to me at all, so please don't take it that way. But why should I vote for you?
Right.
That's the actual question.
Yeah, no, I got it.
I don't even live in the ward. I'm afraid I can't, but why should other people vote for me?
Well, Hamilton's a fantastic city to live. Have
I
you
love
considered moving?
I lived here many years. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, no, I know. Why? Because I'm going to provide clear and transparent communication, which is currently lacking in consultation. Because I have a strong business background, I understand balancing books. I understand how East Ward residents use the city, and actually on a macro level through my work, I understand how the whole city works together in different suburbs, which is one of the beauties of my role in real estate. And with my years of negotiating experience, I can bring voices together, which I think at this point is drastically needed. We currently don't have enough loud voices advocating for the majority. We are currently lacking a balanced democratic council, and that is absolutely vital, which is why I'm asking for your number one vote.
And we've got another button from Jacobus.
Yeah, people should vote for me because I'll put together 24/7 access. Whatever complaints that people have, they can refer them straight to me. Also, I am a team player. I work with everyone, utilising all the gifts of everyone here. So it's kind of like co-management with everyone else. And also being the voice of the people and being a sovereign, people should vote for me because I stand by people's rights, and I'm a defender of human rights at the same time. So a vote for Jack Gielen is a vote for the voice of the people, for sovereignty, and giving the council back to the people, because the people at the moment don't seem to have much of a voice. Thank you.
And we've got another button, and I do feel that there might be an AI bot answering those issues at 2 a.m. in the morning.
I gravitated towards journalism because I have a natural curiosity about how things are and enjoy connecting with people. How our city ended up $850 million in debt, running on debt, looking to increase rates by 50% in 3 years during a cost of living crisis, while still being determined to spend big, is something I'm very curious about, and that I've heard from many other Hamiltonians that they're very curious about too. So my personal strengths will be getting answers and helping council to be transparent and accountable to the people.
Okay, next up, Jose. What box number?
Number 15.
It's like Christmas. This is question J for Jose, which doesn't really work in a phonetic alphabet, but I'll try anyway. What areas of council expenditure would you prioritise?
Cool. So that's an easy answer for me. So what the number one priority would be to do a comprehensive review of council's contracted and professional services. So there's been a lot of talk about cutting capital projects, but the median rate increase of 25.5%, really, when you want to look at it, the $380 million of operating expenditure, about half of it is going outside of the realms of council, out of personnel costs from council. And there is big markups on those contracts. There are rates that have been locked in for a long time. So there's a lot of cost efficiency that we can get out of that to ensure we're getting good value for money. Value for money doesn't necessarily mean cutting services. It just means squeezing more out of those contracts. Especially, I'll give you an example, in the road renewal space, we could be saving $7 to $10 million a year if we were able to maintain, operate, and renew our roads more efficiently in par with cities like Tauranga or Wellington as well. So also we'll focus on transport. I do think that transport is one of the biggest expenditure, well, the second biggest expenditure in our council. And there is a lot of issues with the way that the council money is being spent today. And also I will make sure that good optioneering and actually good value for money and good outcomes are delivered for all road users.
Okay. Tony, what box would you... Oh, we've got a button from Marie-Claire.
My priority for the council is about youth crime prevention. Our young people, the council need to invest money because as the future leaders, we need to invest on them. And also my second priority is being transparent about the council. Who are behind the sheet? We're getting them more money because they're cutting job for the employee. What about the CEO? How much is earning? how much those managers are earning. Look at their wages as well, instead of looking at the employee. And also the waste management. How we do care for the waste management? We need to get through community education for that everybody to understand what is recycle, reuse, and reduce. That's the 3 priorities. That's my priorities for the council, to have a clean and a sustainable city that's going to attract tourism around the world. Thank you.
So, Tony, you've had the rare opportunity to think about what number you want to pick. Which one?
Yeah, I reckon I'll probably choose the Asian lucky number 8.
All right, this is question D for dog. Oh, this is the one question I wrote, so I'm really sorry, guys. It's really tough. In the recent Future for Local Government report, it suggested local amalgamations as a middle ground option between localised and centralised service provision. Do you agree with more centralisation of local government?
I will use my lucky differ card.
So which candidate would you like to defer it to? I did see a volunteer down there.
Yeah, just give it to the volunteer.
Okay, Jose.
Cool. So when we talk about amalgamation, we need to think what we're going to get out of it. So amalgamation is not new to New Zealand. Auckland Council is a super council. They did amalgamate in 2010. There's a lot of good things they've done. You know, they've got council control organizations that some of them are delivering good outcomes. Some of them are heavy infrastructure. For example, the water problem in Auckland is not as severe as some of the other smaller councils because of the work that Watercare has done to be able to invest upfront, to be able to future-proof infrastructure. They do have their problems, but they're not as severe as areas like ours. But when you talk about the Waikato area, there's already work being done to be able to look at models for potential amalgamation. You need to look at the Waikato Metro Spatial Plan, which includes townships like Te Awamutu, Cambridge, Taupiri, and potential amalgamation also with areas like Tamahiti as well. It makes a lot of sense. Council's already providing a lot of the support and the services and the infrastructure for that area. So why not actually deliver all levels of service, including parks, infrastructure, roads, you name it, and water in an integrated manner that can actually help members of our community. So yeah, it's something that definitely should be looked at, and I don't see why certain areas of New Zealand it wouldn't work. But I think it's mainly the metro areas, not the urban area. Sorry, the urban areas.
Okay, Jacobus, what box number?
This is question U for umbrella. Councils are being given roles and responsibilities from central government coming from regulation and legislation. These are referred to as unfunded mandates. What is your opinion on unfunded mandates from central government?
Unfunded mandates, they need to specify exactly what the money is going to, and so it has to be projects that the people go along with. But unfunded mandates, I don't go along with that because we need to specify where the money's being spent, because if the money's being spent in the wrong place, it's just going to increase the debt. And I'm pro responsible spending. And I'm against centralisation taking over, but because I'm pro the voice of the people, I think it has to be something that we all contribute towards. Because we've been talking about supervising contracts, and a lot of these contracts that are put together is wild contracts where the people don't get a look into what's going on. So I don't go along with unfunded projects myself.
Sounds like the ghost of Penny Bryant sat there and wrote that answer. And also a good example of funded mandates is the Wakakotahi subsidy for road maintenance. That's a funded mandate from central government, whereas an unfunded mandate would be an example such as putting water, was it fluoridization or chlorine into water as a good example, where that is dictated by government but is borne by the cost of the ratepayer as a good example of what is a funded and an unfunded mandate. We've got Guy. What box number would you like to pick?
1.
Simple, I love it. All right, this is question M for Mike. How will you improve the transparency and communication of council activities and decision making?
Okay, most of Tania's answers are pretty brief due to her not being here. So what she's written, she would like information shared from the councillors on who was for and who was against on any decision making that will put a big impact on the committee, on the community.
I want to ask, we've got any councillors here. I'm not sure if it's an issue up here. Minutes with for and against, are they recorded in Hamilton or
Yes,
not?
they are.
So they're public record because
Unless it's a public excluded element.
meeting.
Yep. It's all
Okay,
recorded.
yeah,
There's a
no,
lot of
because
secrecy going
yeah,
on.
Greater Wellington Regional Council literally were hiding those votes for quite a number of years during the Fran Wild, Chris Laidlaw days. If anyone wants a time period of when that happened.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay. Marie Claire, what box number? Oh yes, that's a good age when you can get your driver's license. Even though I was in the day when you got it at 15.
All right. This is question Q for Quebec. Are you a member of any political party? If so, has your campaign received any support from that party?
I'm not a member of any political party. My campaign is being supported by myself and by my friends. Thank you.
I'd like a button on there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was with the Republic of New Zealand party, so I had experience with being a deputy leader. Also, I supported most of the parties, you know, the One Party, Conservative Party, and the Freedom Party, and I felt they couldn't work in together because they could have had a unity umbrella and they could have had their 5% quite easily. But because of egotism and they're all doing their own thing, they couldn't work in with one another. So I'm a universalist. I'm for the voice of the people, and I'm for representing all the parties, the good things from all the party. Because with oppositional thinking, they attack one another, but we've got to have inquisitional thinking, utilising the best from every party, and I'll utilise the best. Thank you.
We've got another button from Guy on behalf of Tania.
Tania is not affiliated with any political party. We are a team of two. We use our own funds to fund her campaign. We do not get any support from corporate businesses as such. Thank you.
Okay, and now we go up to, we've had 7 questions, so now we go for another round in a different order. Jacobus, what box number?
Do we have to?
Take the one on the end here somewhere. What is it? 22 or something?
I mean, the numbers are literally written on them, Jack.
21.
21? Cool. Question B for boy, oh boy. This is a 3-part answer, so that's what the exasperation's for. What are your 3 main policies for this by-election?
Okay, first of all, responsible spending, because I reckon that most of the spending's been irresponsible when you look at the rates going up and what are they actually spending the money on with cycleways and all this sort of thing. Also, business management is vital because I walk around town and talk to all the business people, and they're telling me the leases are far too high. And plus, if they bring in take away the free parking, people won't have access to the CBD anymore, which is a real crying shame. And my 3rd policy is community consultation. I believe in representing the heart of the community, being there for all people groups, having festivals, talking to the different groups and representing them on the council is vital to me. So they're my 3 policies: responsible spending, community consultation, and what was the second one again? That was business
No,
development.
but you've had the buzzer go off.
Time management was the other one.
Business
Yes,
management.
yes. Marie Claire, what box number?
This is question X for xylophone. Do you think that council should suspend non-critical projects to fund critical projects such as upgrading water infrastructure?
I would like to defer this question.
Which candidate would you like to defer it to? Roger? Or one who's sitting beside you? And Roger's not there to answer. Okay, that's easy. Let's move on to Guy. What box number?
All right, this is question G for George. What is the most pressing issue in the Hamilton East Ward of Hamilton City Council?
Okay, Tania's written down high rate increases that will affect businesses, homeowners, renters, all middle to low income earners. And that could even push a lot of people into hardship, which we don't need. Thanks.
Okay, next up, Anna. What box number? It's been a bit quiet down this end.
22 for Taylor Swift fans in the audience.
This is question A for Apple. Do you think water meters are a good way of charging for water?
No. No, but my justification for that is that we already have rates increases on the way, significant ones if the ones that are currently being floated get through. There's a massive amount of financial pressure on houses, and I think the last thing that anybody wants is a pensioner in their flat having to restrict the amount of, the time in the shower they have, because you know that they will to try and make ends meet. So water is something I'm very passionate, it's like literally the source of life right there with oxygen, and so therefore it's a really important thing. I just think I'm very grateful here in Hamilton that we don't have them. I'm aware that a lot of councils around the country do, and I would fight very hard to keep that as long as we can.
Cheeky question before we go on, but do you know what your fixed water and sewage charge components are on your rates account?
Something sense, no.
Okay. No. I also come from a non-water meter city being Wellington, and I do know it's about $2,500 is not in the current place I'm in, but the previous place I was in was about $2,500 of the 4.5 or 5,000 was based on water infrastructure alone, as in the fixed rate charges. So yeah, always interesting to find out what's different in different councils. Next up is Horiana. What box number?
20.
Right, this is question V for very hard question. What are you personally doing to role model climate action?
I've opposed the Mount Messenger bypass through the Mangapepeke Valley, which was home to long-tailed bats and kiwi, but the kiwi have been moved. The bat roosts were filled in with builder's foam, and ancient forest and wetland is being hacked down to save a few minutes driving time. I'm for another option, which is cheaper and less destructive. Here in Hamilton, our city is running on debt. The people are becoming more distressed and resentful as a result of council's approach to mode shift. I can model climate action by telling council that it's used its power to force the issue and has set climate action back. If it wants sustainable progress, its faith and confidence needs to be in the people, not expensive concreting.
Okay, we have Button from Tony. It's been a while since we heard from you.
Need some noise from this side.
I know.
Yeah, my answer is I got two cars we got two family cars. Both of them are hybrid, and we use fully LED lights at home, and we try to use less plastic products, and we're planning to install the solar power system, and also even for the sheet, we try to do the double-side printing. So that's how we do it. See, everyone's doing that.
Even we're doing it.
Well done.
Okay, Jose, what box number?
All right, this is question C for cat, which has nothing to do with cats. Shaping a healthy and happy city, what are your suggestions for sustainable strategies to prevent youth crime in Kirikiriroa?
Okay, so yeah, I had noted down some points for this one. So I think we need to clarify roles of City Council versus the role of the New Zealand Police, Ministry of Justice, and role of central government. There's so many organizations that are involved, but what we can do is that we do have a City Safe service, which ratepayers fund, and that service allows to keep spaces safe, like the public transport center, like our CBD, and like areas out in Dinso, which is where I own a property and where I live, and also areas in other parts of the city as well, where they do CCTV surveillance and monitoring. So I do think that they play a key role on diffusing situations, making places safe, and making sure our youth also are not engaging in crime and also in illegal activity. I do also think that partnership with central government is quite key to ensure that we can get good funding to ensure that our spaces are revitalized in such a way that they are safe, they have good public lighting, and that they also, people feel, businesses and also families feel safe to be able to traverse and to be able to operate under. And yeah, I think that's probably as much as council could do. We're not involved in education, we're in shaping the justice system.
And we have a button from Marie Claire.
Yes, coming from education background, we understand that those young people, they are on the street because they are not at school. They are not at school because they can't be at school. Their behavior is not too good to be at school. That's the reason that is expressed at school. As parents, as teachers, we need to try to find a way to give those kids second education. It means that second chance. There's a lot of entrepreneurs in the community who would like to look after those kids, give them this chance. I'm talking about second chance for those young people. And also, I also think about parenting. You also understand those kids, where they come from. Look at their background. Are they from family balance, or they are from broken family? We also need to do a lot of parenting to support them. And also, I bring the issue on the street level. That's why I say a child is there by the community. When a child is born, it's you. But when a child is a big boy, they come is a community. The streets. Street kids. Thank you.
Okay, Tony, what box number?
Number 3, please.
Right, this is letter H for Hamilton. Hamilton City Council has 2 Māori ward councillors. Will you advocate for Māori wards to stay or be removed?
I would say to stay, because I believe that will be a better connections and communications with the Maori communities. Thank you.
That was short, sharp, and sweet. Okay, and we are off. We've gone for another 7 questions, so a different answer. Horiana, you get to go up on your box number.
13. Please.
Oh yes, that's a bit of an unlucky prime number.
But I love the manners.
What's that? Lotto numbers this weekend?
What was that, sorry?
Was 13 a lotto number this weekend?
No idea.
Yeah.
Right, this is question R for really, really hard. Actually, it's not that hard, but I should warn you, this is one of those questions that sounds like it's coming from me because it starts with I, and when you hear the question and me, you'll know it's really not. I cycle every day in Hamilton. What will you do to support me as I help to reduce congestion and climate change impacts?
The council has invested heavily in creating cycleways around the city. Given the city's current financial situation, this level of funding isn't sustainable until we are able to reduce our $850 million debt. Only 1% of trips in the city are made by bike and 10% are made by public transport and walking. So my priority for any funding going into alternative modes of transport that help reduce congestion and climate change impacts would be given to the options chosen by a larger segment of our population. The vehicle disincentive tactics used by council to compel mode shift are creating widespread discontent and frustration within the community. If any progress is to be made, council can't frustrate and disincentivize people. It must energize people.
Okay, thank you for that. Jose, what box number?
Number 25, please.
I'm always disappointed when I open the boxes and there's no chocolate in them. This is question Z for zebra. And another really hard question. What is a quality that you admire in one of your fellow candidates?
What an awkward question. Okay, maybe it's a bit of a, not a hospital pass, but it's maybe I will treat this generically. I mean, I think that everyone that decides to stand for the city, it takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of admiration, goodwill, but also a big opportunity cost. You know, people like me have to take leave without pay to be able to run. Councils have very strict policies, so there's a lot that we put into the election just to make our city better. So I think everyone should give a pat themselves on the back, and just to be able to take a stance and just put themselves forward to make our city a nicer place to live in for our future generations as well. So,
and we have a button from Anna as well.
Yes, I do agree with what Jose said, though that didn't quite answer the question. But I just like to say, actually, it's been such a pleasure to see Mahi Claire in action. Her vibrancy, enthusiasm, and energy is so infectious. We had another event on the last Thursday, and she's just gorgeous. So what a pleasure.
And while we're on the topic, Marie Claire, you have the next box.
This is question AA, double A, apple, apple. Which candidate do you hate the most? No. Successful organisations have continuous improvement programs. What improvements do you think Hamilton City Council needs to make?
I said the city needs to be a transparent city. That means a lot of it was said last Thursday, a lot of stuff done by the council are known by the community. They show us the plan. That is the plan we're going to be doing the next 10 years. Have you been part of the plan? I want the people to be involved since day one when they have the idea. The concept idea to come from people. Let people direct and guide the council to make any plan. And second, who are the taxpayer? Us. Who are the ratepayer? Us. Do you know how we spend our money? No. I want a council, a transparent council that really involves the ratepayers, the people, and also everyone. They love, they care, and also opening to change.
That was a good timing. And yeah, Jose, your button.
Cool. So yeah, I work in local government, and this is a big problem. Like continuous improvements program, there are both infrastructure programs, operational programs. So everything you see happening every year in terms of road maintenance, renewal, rubbish collection, they just roll over year on year. And one of the key issues that there is in there is that currently they make about 80–90% of what you're paying for, right? But the problem is that those continuous programs are not regularly reviewed against value for money, against quality metrics, against non-price attributes to ensure that we are delivering the outcomes that our city deserves. And they do result in situations like we are in today, that we're facing a $75 million operating deficit, and that we have debt over the roof against our revenue of about 280–90%. So they need to be reviewed. We have good people that can do it. And yeah, it's actually something that every single local council in New Zealand is struggling with at the moment, especially Auckland Council. In there, it's in the billions of dollars. So that's my answer.
Okay. Next up, Tony. What box number?
Number 6, please.
Still not chocolate. This is N for nasty, terrible question for you. How will you ensure that feedback from public consultation is properly weighted in council decisions?
Yeah, when I look at this question, it was a tricky one to me. But what I'm trying to say is public consultation will be weighted in my decision. So if I become the councillor, then I'll bring it to the council team. If the public consultation is weighted in my decision, it'll definitely be weighted in the council's decision. Thank you.
You've got some time left. What happens if someone puts in a submission that has something factually incorrect, such as Māori roll voters get to vote on the Māori roll and the general roll, which is factually incorrect, but was a submission point commonly used on the Kapiti Coast District Council in the Māori electoral option review? Would you treat that as factual or not?
Probably not.
So how much weight then do you give an infactual opinion when it comes to decision making?
I guess I used my defer card, did I?
I like that response. We'll take it with a grain of salt. Jacobus, what box number?
23.
This is question L for last but not least. Definitely not last. Will you support council lobbying the government for an urgent review of the earthquake-prone legislation?
No, because my main focus is the heritage. And when you're talking about earthquakes, when you look at all the buildings throughout Hamilton, how many of them are actually suspect? So I think as a climate change initiative, we need to consider all aspects, like from recycling rubbish to young being taught self-respect and this sort of thing. But I think that we have got to get real about all the buildings tested, and the initiative has to be something that we believe in and that it's not too expensive. Yep.
Okay, next up, Anna, what box number?
Number 14, please.
Now, has anyone worked out, does Hamilton have a bus route 14? It's a scenic one in
We
Wellington.
do not, no.
Oh, okay. It's a scenic bus route in Wellington that I think will showcase the city. But I think you have a couple of circular ones that do that here.
All right, this is question AB for All Blacks. This is not a rugby related question. Changes to central government legislation impact on local communities. Councils are expected to deliver the outcomes of legislation without funding or resources. As an example, government ministries and departments increasingly communicate with citizens via email and text. The non-computer literate visit libraries for assistance in tax and benefit matters. This assistance is funded by the ratepayers. Do you believe that central government should form partnerships with councils to deliver central government services?
Yes. With funds and oversight from central government, but the decision-making left at a local level. So assuming that that doesn't put a burden on us to, that one-size-fits-all box that comes down from Wellington. As lovely as a city it is not Hamilton. The other thing with that is that we need to actually be lobbying central government for as much support and assistance as we can. They spend a lot of time telling us how and what we should be doing things. And when you look at our overall infrastructure and the issues that we have with lack of development contributions to projects, the fact that it takes 2.5 weeks, according to the district planner at the council, who I went and sat down with, if you flush the toilet in Glenview, for it to actually make its way to Puketi, we really need to be having as much of that input from central government as we can to ensure that we have future-proofed and sustainable services.
You learn something new every day. Guy, what box number would you like to pick?
The one I'm resting my microphone on.
You can flip it upside down afterwards and keep it there.
All right, this is question W for whiskey, which I'm going to need after this. If elected, what is the one personal strength that your wife will bring to council? This is how you guarantee you're not sleeping on the couch.
I'm not sure about that. Anyway, hopefully I can get this right for her. She's written down that working together for the better good and not for the individual, harmony within, and get rid of the us and them culture.
Okay, we have got, is it 7 boxes left there? And we've got 4 minutes to our halftime break. So if we could make a deal where we could probably ask the next 7, take 30 seconds and no buttons, no defers. Should we go for the next 7 on those conditions? Okay. Sorry, I just want to make sure. I hate it when they keep this random listing keeps putting the same people at the top and the bottom. Okay, Guy, you get to pick the first box.
This is question Y for Yankee. If you do not become a councillor, which to be fair, you're not running, but if your partner doesn't become a councillor, what is their dream job?
I'm going to defer this.
We agreed there was no defer.
Ah, okay.
What's in their answers?
I'm a bit deaf. Okay. Sorry, I can't find it.
What's this?
Okay.
Oh,
She
you
put in brackets, yours.
Yeah, he's pretty good as a broadcaster.
However, she would like to be an advocate for those folks who can't speak for themselves. Vote for Tania.
Okay, Horiana, what box number?
12.
This is question E for everything, everywhere. I support intellectually disabled folks in Hamilton, many of whom are dependent on cycling. If you win this election, will you support continued, safe, connected cycleways for my clients?
The city is currently $850 million in debt, and the new government has instructed NZTA to pull its funding for cycling initiatives, which would put more of the cost of building new cycleways on Hamilton ratepayers and residents. Based on 22 figures, only 1% of trips in Hamilton are made by bike. The city needs to prioritise spending and make some hard choices. To quote a member of the public, people are hurting. So I don't think further spending on cycling projects is defendable under the current financial circumstances. So.
Okay, Jacobus, what box number?
28.
This is K for ketamine. What is your view on future rate increases?
I believe in rates for services, and I think the rates are going to go up 25%, and they could double in the future with what's going on. So I'm against rates increases unless they're really justified. So I believe in keeping it at a moderate level, and we should look at those projects that are really essential as opposed to those that are not essential. So I'm really for rates for services, dealing with the rubbish, libraries, yeah. Yep, so yep, rates for services, that's my main focus. Thank you.
Okay, Marie Claire, what box number?
This is question T for turtle power. You can see I'm making this up as I go along because I'm terrible at phonetics. Do you think that social housing should be first offered to those who are local?
What we say about local, I can say that they resident Hamiltonian first. It means that someone coming from Auckland looking for a house in Hamilton, I think a local person, Hamiltonian, is a priority for the social housing. Just because they don't have a house, but we also need to understand why they're here. And in it, and we don't have a first priority, but also need to consider also those people coming from Auckland, what are their needs? Also based on their needs and based also on their lack of income. I think also anybody can access housing, but let's focus on the people first. Thank you.
Okay, Jose, what box number?
Not many choices left. Number 9, please.
This is question I for India. There are some suburbs in Hamilton East with safer speed limits of 40 kilometres per hour. If you were given the option to change them, would you keep them as is, raise them, or lower them, and why?
Well, I think with speed management and road safety, we've seen a very big campaign from central government to speed up the economy, and from 100 to 110k in some sections of state highways, so on and so forth, and increasing speed limits in our local roads. Some of them from 80 to 100 in district council areas, and in our city from 30 to 40, 40 to 50. I think there are areas that that are far higher risk, especially close to schools. There are areas where we got vulnerable road users. There are areas that even if you try to drive your car at the posted speed limit, you cannot because of road engineering, and also because of the level of risk exposure with other users that are currently using that corridor. I do think that low traffic management and also speed management across schools is very important. It should not be across a key priority or freight corridors, that's true. They should be retained to ensure that it's not impacting the economy. But I can assure you there is no double haul trucks going outside of school at 40 or 50k per hour. So I would advocate for maintaining or even lowering some of those ones to 30, which are close to school. And there are safety measures that could be put in place to ensure that we're not killing people on our roads. Thank you.
Anna, what box number?
Box 10, please.
My favourite question, because it is question P for Paul. What is your biggest priority for this term, and how do you intend on delivering it?
Fiscal prudence, but through the lens of balance and communication. So that's my top priority at this stage. We don't actually have an option. We are living well beyond our means as a city, and it would be terrible to get elected in February and find by March that the city's been made insolvent and commissioners been put in instead. So that's got to be the top priority. We don't have a lot of options, but and I'll do that through bringing balanced voices to council. I'm quite prepared to be unpopular. That's fine. If it's bigger than feeling good about how other people think about you. It's really about our children and our grandchildren and the history and the legacy that we leave behind us. Having said that, negotiating skills as well, because no one person around that table can do it on their own.
Okay, Tony.
Yo.
You only get one
Lucky
choice,
last.
but what?
Would you like 24? Is 24 enough?
Absolutely, mate. It's 3 times of number 8. So, yeah.
All right, this is question S for scary.
That is scary.
Yeah, it's just the way I do it, I'm sorry. Should councils be forced by the Ministry of Health to fluoridate their water supplies?
No, I don't think so. I just believe it's unfair to those people who has got concerns on health issues. And also, unless majority of Hamiltonians agree on that, which I don't believe so. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Paul, for doing that, and thank you for all the candidates for managing to exhaust the questions. Again, give them a big round of applause. Okay, we're going to take a quick break here and see you back in 10 minutes' time for hard-hitting questions. And welcome back to It's in the Ballot. Now let's get in time ready for hard-hitting questions. Okay, so we're getting ready for hard-hitting questions. These 3 questions are going to be answered by every single candidate here tonight, and these are some very topical issues that are happening in the Hamilton East Ward that need, I can't say your answers to the voters, the candidates' answers to do that. And we will be going around using our random order sheet. So now let's kick off for hard-hitting question number 1. I'll just get that ready for the stream deck. So this is one that's been topical, and I can thank Labour candidate Hamilton East, Georgie Dancy, for bringing this to my attention. Do you support the Grey Street, Beale Street intersection upgrade? Let's kick off with Horiana.
The Innovating Streets debacle impacted customer access to a car-dependent business in the CBD. And for 6 months, Horsham Downs businesses and residents have been living a roading nightmare due to council installing speed bumps, cycleways, and in-lane bus stops. Local businesses are now requesting rebates to compensate for lost revenue caused by the project's disruption. The cost and negative impact of these projects is astounding. Grey Beale Street locals are already opposing the installation of the roundabout, speed bumps, and loss of 18 car parks due to their impact on residents and businesses. This, plus the additional risk that emergency services might be impeded, means that council must change course. The city is $850 million in debt, so alongside not proceeding due to the disruption and distress it's causing, we can't afford it.
Thank you. Jose.
Okay, so yeah, Grey Street, Beale intersection. So I think we need to acknowledge that intersection has a problem. There is a St. Mary's or Christian school in there. There's a lot of foot traffic, cycling traffic, and there are a lot of clashes and close calls between children biking to school. So something must be done. We need solutions, not just simply outlining cuts. The proposed roundabout that is being selected to go in, I don't think that that is the right solution. I think we can leverage the infrastructure we've got there better. There is already a signalized crossing that's south of the Beale and Grey Street intersection that could be brought north to enable safe crossing. Then we could also potentially put zebra pedestrian crossings both on the east side of Beale Street and on the west side of Beale Street. And then on the northern side, we've already got lights where people can cross that. So that will potentially bring the cost down astronomically. You will won't have to remove 27 car parks, I think it is. The figure is, I think it's higher than 18. And you will keep a lot of people happy and make sure that our children get safe to school and deliver outcomes for everyone. So yeah, I think that solution is there. Enough for that.
Jacobus, your answer.
Development contractors seem to be a law unto themselves. And as soon as they bring in a supervisory eye upon all these contracts, the better. Because do they really need this roundabout just where it is? I'm fully aware of it, because quite often I do protesting on that crossroads there. So I do feel that, are they revealing to us why we need it there? And other people going along with it, as has been already shared, a lot of people in that area are against it, because like it's going to slow the traffic right down. And I mean, they're slowed down with the pedestrian crossing there anyway. So I'm potentially against it, and I think they should reveal what's going on with these contractors or these contracts. Yeah.
Okay. Guy.
Okay. Tania has written down, she has said no, not at this stage. The cost would be high. HCC cannot afford it. Rome wasn't built in a day. The council doesn't listen. They put a new roundabout in Frankton It's so big, buses have trouble getting around it. I spoke to a bus driver and he said that they're going to make their own route because they just cannot get around that roundabout. So her answer is no.
Okay, Marie-Claire.
Thank you. I just want to find out first, are there any issue? I've been driving, I think, for 20 years on this road. I never see any issue with the traffic light. Yes, there is issue with the children crossing to school. As other people say, yes, we do increase zebra crossing on the road so that we know that give way to the children. Building another roundabout is mean that increase the taxpayer money. It means that we need to spend more money again. While the council is still in debt, why increasing this unnecessary? For me, it's an unnecessary work on the road. When the existing is okay. The traffic light is there. I have never any issue. And how is it going to be? Because it's a big roundabout. How are you going to make it for the business people and also for everyone? For me, I say no. Keep looking at what is more important for us. The roundabout in Beale Street is not a priority. Always, the council need to come to people.
Tony.
Yes, I do support it. However, I actually got on Hamilton Council website and I read the proposal on it. I kind of disagree with the proposal. So I agree with the idea because I read about it from 2010 to 2023. Within these 13 years, we got 37 crashes out there. I don't know if any of them is fatal or not. Remember, we also got a few schools in that area. Safety is the key thing. So that's why I do support this idea of having some upgrade. But in saying that, I look at their proposal, it looks like it's a big flash roundabout. And if it's gonna costing too much money and multi-million dollars or whatever, I'm kind of opposed on that. So yeah, thank you.
Anna.
No, I don't support the current design for the roundabout proposal. There's better, smaller scale alternatives if it needs to happen to get the kids safely across the road, patrol crossings, etc. People talk too about the funding, and sometimes when you talk about roading projects, you get a little bit of pushback going, well, some of it's waka kotahi money, and well, I would argue that waka kotahi money is still taxpayer money, therefore it's not just, comes from out of the money tree. But this particular project is 49% Hamilton City Council, 51%. So it is slightly different to some of the CRF funded things like the inland bus stop on Hukanui. So there is more ratepayer money up at stake for this one. And I just think the safety of the children to get across the road is really important. The cost benefit analysis of just taking those car parks just away and the livelihoods away from those local businesses and the retailers there, it's just that you've got to do this in a way that doesn't destroy their livelihoods.
And for those who would like to place a submission, so I've been informed today, submissions are still open on there. We've got a QR code on the top left-hand side of the screen, and we'll have it up for the remainder of hard-hitting questions. If you want to scan that, it will take you straight through to the consultation page on Hamilton City Council's website, and that would also remain in there when this flicks over to a recorded show after we finish the live stream tonight. So if you're wanting to sit there and do that, we are happy to help facilitate that. Have your say. It's a very important part about the submission process. And one thing I always say about submissions, if you're putting in one, propose alternative solutions that could work better rather than just go, I'm opposing for the sakes of it. Because if you propose alternative solutions, they're forced to focus on them. Whereas if you say nothing, you're going to get ignored. So if you have a better idea how to do it, put that in your submission and get that onto the onto the table and doing it. An example in Wellington, the Karori Road cycle lane had 150 amendments made thanks to local submissions. So, when you do put in alternative ideas, council officers are forced to react and come up with better solutions. So let's kick over to hard-hitting question number 2. Hamilton City Council staff reported to the Finance Committee that from 23rd of August 2022 to 31st of October 2023, debt has increased from 273 million to 886 million. How will you address the significant overspending by the council, and are you prepared to be the minority voice around the council table when the majority of councillors in this term seek to continue spending on projects that many ratepayers do not want? Now, that figure, I'm not sure if that's factually correct, if they're doing that or taking it from the long-term plan, but from what's been said here, there is concerns. So, you know, doing it, we have not been able to fact check that figure because that only came in on Friday, that question, so we haven't had a chance to actually do that, but our candidates may have seen long-term plans who can probably verify that. Now I've got to redo the list. And I'm going to do it again because I wanted to. I love it when it keeps putting the same person top. Okay, Jose. After it did 3 attempts putting Horiana at the top, I thought it's time to keep hitting refresh.
Cool, awesome. So I'm prepared to do 3 things urgently. One of them, it's a comprehensive review of council's contracted and professional services. That's to make room in our operational budget so we can actually repay debt. Let's be clear, all these projects that you're seeing out there, they are capital projects that we repay over 30 years. Sometimes the net saving to council of, for example, going out and scrapping one in-lane bus stop will be 100K in 1 year. It will be negligible. We need to go and look at the operational contracted services that council has, because that's how the deficit is made up of and how we can repay financing costs faster. Once that is done, we need to look at ways that we can fund differently our city's growth and our core infrastructure. That means developer contributions. That means reviewing our developer contribution policy. That also means central government city deals, infrastructure funding and financing, crown appropriations, PPP, equity partnership funded models. There are bigger levers that we need to look at longer term, because this problem is not going to go away overnight. Thank you.
Anna.
The way that we need to rein in the spending is by delivering our core services and delivering them well, and approaching our budgets with fiscal prudence. So we've just actually got to cut back the pet projects, look at the areas where there is room to trim, because quite simply the money's not there. You cannot keep borrowing. As I said, who wants to be elected onto a council that then goes insolvent? And as for the second part of the question, yes, I'm well prepared to be a minority voice out the current table. Absolutely prepared to stand for what I have presented as my views and what I support, because it's important. However, there isn't really much benefit in standing on your own. So I do bring negotiation skills and working together, and there's quite often win-win-win situations. It's not all take when you're looking at that fiscal prudence, but also exploring the other models of funding, central government lobbying, as well as commercial partnerships.
Okay, Guy.
Yes. She has written down that as a minority voice, she would be strong. She would be a strong strong voice around the table. One of her things about this overspending by the council is that she would definitely seek an audit on financial matters. Thank you.
Okay, Tony.
Yes, I will be. I'm prepared to be the minority voice, and I'll try to convince the other councillors why it's not a great idea. The debts was accumulated over the last decades, so we cannot follow what we used to do. Otherwise, the issues will still exist and potentially getting worse. So the council needs to stop thinking it is only our problem. It is only our problem for 3 years, and leave the issues to the next council election. However, if it's a great opportunity out there and needs some kind of better communication with the ratepayers, I'm also willing to try my best to demonstrate to the communities. Thank you.
Okay, Marie-Claire.
Yeah, all this said, I just want to add that the council need to stop slow down and review the priorities. And that's me focus on the priority areas that really needed by the community, by the people. And also, are the people ruling those projects? Are they for the people? If the answer is no, let's review them. Yes, I'm prepared to be a minority. Seek a collaboration between council, otherwise, advice for public meeting, public consultation, where we bring the council in a big room, not a small chamber in the council, so that everybody can listen to what the council is saying and get the people heard. We're here for the change. We can't leave the people suffer. Thank you.
Okay, Jacobus.
I believe there needs to be an audit done on all the spending, because a lot of these contracts, they need to be supervised from the top. They're paying the CEO $500,000, and a lot of the staff who gets involved in development, business projects and this sort of thing, they take over. The people don't know what's going on. So I would be a voice, a minority voice, and say, I want to see the contracts. I want to see what the money's being spent on. Because it's obvious that we're overspending in some areas, and it's time for greater accountability and openness on the council. So I'd be a voice that would speak out against all the spending. I want to see the contracts, and I believe they need to be supervised. There needs to be an audit of all the money spent. Thank you.
Horiana.
Council spending is out of control. It's why I'm standing. I am worried. People are out there hurting, and council is raising our rates 50% in the next 3 years, and they are rejecting opportunities to cut $100 million worth of spending. So yeah, we definitely need to look at the spending. We need to look at interest rates so that international debt rating agency is concerned about Hamilton's debt currently. And so when they downgrade our rating, then that means extra interest for us. So we need to look at those things. And also, like Jose said, we need to look at DCs at development contributions, because it was 50 to 100% remissions for some of those. That's money that we could be bringing into our coffers so that the pressure is relieved off of our Hamiltonians who are hurting.
Okay, so now let's kick off to hard-hitting question number 3. Now, this one is so for those who don't know, all 3 It's in the Ballot shows have come to Hamilton. My friend Tony has made these possible by providing us accommodation free of charge. My friend Tony is in a wheelchair. I know him from Wellington. He relocated up here to be with family for his retirement. Being in a wheelchair, it does make it very difficult for being accessible. Many of the urban bus stops are not easily accessible to wheelchair users, who often need to travel up to 5 bus stops down the route to catch the bus. What is your position on making Hull, Hamilton East bus stops fully accessible to the disabled members of our community? And we'll start off with Jacobus.
I believe that all bus stops need to be accessible to the disabled community. But that needs to be worked out according to the contract, and to see like what bus stops where, how we could safer get them on to the buses. I've seen a couple of disabled people who actually get on buses. But there's a couple of areas like in Hukanui, there's a new platform gone in, and the bus stops there, but all the cars are kind of left behind it. And so the cars have got to be able to pass the buses. So
you're talking about inline bus stop, just there,
inline bus stops.
Yeah.
So we need to look at all these factors, but in terms of accessibility, I'm pro the disabled being able to access buses and it being safer for them. And I think with cycling and the disabled and everything else, it's all a safety issue, and surely that can be monitored on a one-to-one basis and all the bus stops and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guy.
Okay. Tanya's written down that Hamilton City Council is so focused on road safety upgrades that they haven't assessed the accessibility of bus stops for wheelchair folks or the vulnerable in Hamilton East. She did notice that they have been trialling a 14-seater bus option for, I think it's Telford and Martingi, somewhere around there, which is working quite well for them. So maybe the council should focus more on those types of things than upgrades of speed bumps and all those other things.
Okay, Horiana.
The Glenview hub was upgraded for $2 million, and then they had to fix the construction and design, and we don't actually have those figures to make sure that it was accessible to wheelchairs. So the first thing would be making sure that anything that is put in place is done properly beforehand and not having to put money into pulling it out again. But so my answer is that all Hamilton East urban bus stops being upgraded, and that would mean, as an elected member of council, that really fairness dictates that you would upgrade them across the city, which I would love to see happen. You know, I would really love to see that happen. But when we understand that $1 million was spent on the inland bus stop that's just been installed in Hukanui, and we look at $2 million at Glenview Hub, we need to know how much that's going to cost. But then when we think about it across the whole city, it's got to be, it might be quite high. Yeah, but I can't give a blanket commitment, sorry.
Jose.
Okay, so we've already got some fully accessible bus stops in our city. What fully accessible really means, just so we're on the same page, for the bus stop itself, is that the raised platform is raised to a point that it can meet the bus when the bus is lowered. So and the wheelchair user can wheelchair themselves independently and autonomously into the bus. That's what that means, okay? So it doesn't mean delivering inland bus stops, shelters, real time, it's just raising that platform. That's something that can be cheaply done if you integrate it into what we call our renewals program. We maintain our curves and our channels, and we do that every year. Our roading kilometers are about 1,300 lane kilometers in our city. We do about at least 100 of them every year. I can assure you that if we integrated raising those platforms to standards so they're fully accessible, we could get them done in the next 5 years across our city for all bus stops, and it will not cost that much because those contracts are negotiated very competitively. And it's not going to cost $1 million per bus stop. I can assure you that, because I work in the transport sector, and an inline bus stop, it's delivering a whole lot more infrastructure than just a raised platform. So yeah, that's my answer. Of course, I will support it. I think it's very important that a vulnerable sector of our community that are physically impaired can access the only mode that they can use to travel around our city.
Marie-Claire.
Yes, I support the idea that our buses must be accessible to people on wheelchairs. However, our drivers also must be educated, because I'm a bus user, and sometimes I can see people on wheelchairs who try to go in the bus, but the driver didn't lower down the door, so that actually the people on wheelchairs can enter the bus. The bus stop is there, but the driver also needs to be educated. Yes.
Yeah.
We need more people also be educated, because sometimes you go on the bus, they don't let the disabled people to use the priority seat. The people are sitting there, they're not educated, they don't let the people sit where they're supposed to be on wheelchairs. You need a community education, you need more buses, but our people need to understand that those people are priorities, and they need to support them when they enter the bus, especially the bus drivers. Thank you.
Tony.
Yes, I agree to making them fully accessible to disabled people, but like my fellow candidates saying that it's really case-by-case situation that a variety of solutions may apply. I would assume some of them probably need an upgrade, and some of them probably just need a little change. So I'm a bit budget driven, so I supported this idea, but just we need to look at it carefully. Thank you.
Anna.
Tony, yes. Accessible, yes. Ideally, all bus stops are fully accessible. However, there are practicalities of upgrading them, and we go back to the spending through the council. So it's got to be on a case-by-case basis. There may be, we've got some lovely flat streets where it's easy to make those platforms raised. In some of the flatter suburbs, you go into the more hilly ones, it's going to become more expensive. We're talking engineering costs. So it's got to be something that you look at business cases, or perhaps other models like the flexi bus that we have, which will come to your home and kind of just runs its own route that's not a specific bus route, but is still part of the bus transport network. So, yes.
Thank you for that. And just for those who are wondering, in Wellington, about 99% of our bus stops are fully accessible for wheelchair users. So it was quite a bit of a culture shock when I was brought to this attention. And yeah, I would say in Hamilton, it is find the accessible bus stop rather than find the inaccessible bus stop. Whereas in Wellington, an inaccessible bus stop is usually in a very hilly suburb or on a school bus only bus stops, which we have a couple, but we don't have that many in Wellington. So those are the little bits in there. And yeah, as I said, many disabled people don't have the means to use half-price taxis, which yes, they get offered it, but if you haven't got the money for it, you can't use it. And sometimes the bus is the only option. So we've got a little bit of spare time. Now, for those who don't know, I am a barista by trade. I'm not a TV presenter by trade, even though I'd love to be, but I don't receive the salaries of Mike McRoberts or Simon Dallow, but I might be asking hard questions like Jack Tame. So my day-to-day job is running a coffee cart. I'd like to know from each candidate what type of coffee they drink. Start off in any order.
I'm allergic to coffee, so I don't drink it.
That sucks.
I got chai latte only.
Ooh.
In my years as a real estate agent, got very professional in where the good coffee spots were. But it does vary. At the moment, it's a long black with a dash of hot milk.
I don't really drink coffee.
So we got a hot chocolate fan by the sounds of it.
We do have a hot chocolate fan, yeah. And herbal tea.
Caramel latte.
Oh, now that one provides you extra margins and extras.
Homemade, of course.
Is that code word for instant?
We don't mind a bit of Lebanese coffee.
Oh, well, if it's plunger, I've got no problem with that. But if it's instant...
Double espresso if it's at home, and if it's outside the house, it's cappuccino.
And chai latte and green tea. I don't take coffee.
Gee, so we've got a couple of chai latte fans. Okay, I was not expecting to find that out tonight. You learn something new every day. And for those who sit there and have it with me, I tend to stick with coconut mocha. As someone who's allergic to New Zealand's cow's milk, don't ask me why it's only New Zealand's. I've tried one American brand without issue. It's really annoying. But yes, coconut milk seems to be sold. And if you speak to Nick there, I've got him hooked on coconut flat whites, is it? Yeah, coconut flat whites. Okay, so let's get to closing statements on why the voters should give you their number one vote. And we'll start off with Jose.
Kia ora, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. It's been a long event, but yeah, here's the closing statement. So I've been working for local government for about 6 years now, and I've grown increasingly frustrated about the quality and the competent and the background of some of our decision makers and the drivers that gets them to be leaders for our city. Some of them see it as a retirement job. Some of them see it as a side hustle. For me, it will not be like that. I'm a public servant, and as a public servant myself, I'll promise that I will commit fully, to the role of being a councillor. But also I come with a wealth of knowledge. In the short time that I've been in local government, I've gone from being a policy advisor to being a rail lead portfolio and to being a principal transport advisor. So I think we should be asking more of our councillors. We should be asking them to be more prepared, better educated. And I promise that I bring that into council. I will ask the tough questions. I have worked with Hamilton City Council before. I know people in the executive leadership team. I know the fabrics and the make of city council. So I know I can get a better outcome for Hamilton. So come election day, make me your number one choice. Thank you.
Okay, Tony.
Yeah, dear Hamiltonians, please only vote me if you are looking for the real change. My working habit does not allow me to stay in the office and enjoy morning afternoon tea. So you will see me busy working with communities, creating the business card for Hamilton in order to attract attention from outside, negotiating better deals for the city and getting some support from the central government. It may take a long time for Hamilton to have the fundamental change. No doubt there will be heaps of ongoing challenges, but I'm certainly here to hold the fort. So please vote for Tony Tang, your hands-on councillor, to make Hamilton competitive. Thank you.
Okay, Jacobus, your closing statement.
Okay, as your councillor, candidate for the City of Hamilton for our Humming, Healthier, Happier Hamilton, I will provide good communication skills, the ability to listen as a team player, moving people to action. I am not afraid to make the tough decisions, tackling the real issues affecting the community, promoting health, honesty, truth and justice. I will encourage transparency and openness with all council operations and functions. Okay, I'll demonstrate good management and excellent leadership skills, moving others from A to B, providing direction to the business community, exhibiting a profit and credit vision for the future. I will focus on the Jubilee spirit level, reducing social inequalities by proclaiming liberty to the downtrodden and the oppressed. I will promote open council meetings with no hidden agendas, encouraging community consultation, true participatory democracy with binding local referenda. Rates will be restricted to core services, promoting our assets, and better bus services will also be provided. A vote for Jack GIELEN is a vote for an anti-corruption officer and a constitutional marshal. Thank you.
Okay, Marie-Claire.
Why Marie Claire number one? First, I came from education. We are here for the young people. I will focus the young people, our young generation to look after. We can't leave our kids committing crime. We need to look after them. We need to give them second chance education. I'll bring diversity in the council. I'll bring inclusion. I'll bring respect, and also I'll bring value people. The people who are the people, it's you, it's me, you ratepayers. We are here to bring change. If you are not happy with any decision the council are taking, we say no. No means we need to stand up. No means that's the mean to stay in your house. We need to go and protest any decision that the council is taking without our impact. We also want a council that really care, not for the money, but for the people, for the homeless, for the people begging for food on the street. We don't want to see the city where people are begging for food, your life in danger. It's a council for people, by the people, with the people.
Guy.
Okay. This lady here, she wants to be a councillor because she wants to make a difference, to bring change, harmony, to be there for the community, to spend more time in the community, not in the office. She wants to bring the soul back into the council. That's her motto. She's an open-minded person. I am very proud of her for standing in the local council again. She is also acknowledges the other candidates, and she is very proud of them as well. Because at the end of the day, we all care about Hamilton East. Thank you very much. Vote for Tania TEMONI-SYME.
Okay, next up, Anna.
Firstly, can I say thank you to the team for putting together such a well-run and well-structured event tonight. It's been a really, really great candidates event, and nice to hear a range of opinions and to, get a good run at it. I'm standing in the East Ward as an East Ward resident, living the effects of decisions from Hamilton City Council directly onto the people who also live in the East Ward and are lucky enough to call this beautiful part of the world home. Vote for me to restore balance, for fiscal prudence and a thriving city. Tonight you've heard a range of frustrations. The frustration started when we all started to see projects pop up around the city that have changed the way we move, the inaccessibility, planned congestion, the idea of in-lane bus stops, so absurd that a city council would make its decisions in a way to make living in a city worse to live in the hopes that we'll keep the cars in the garage if we are lucky enough to be living in a house that is now built to even have a garage. We must restore balance in the current council, who, ironically, for their green focus, leave a legacy of concrete speed bumps and traffic fumes and congestion. Vote Ernest Grant as your number one candidate for the city as the best one in New Zealand to live, work and play.
Okay, Horiana.
We've been having a bumpy ride, Hamilton. A member of the public told me people are hurting and the council needs to pull their head in and stop unnecessary spending. I agree with that. $1 million bus lanes bumped into traffic, $700,000 bus stops bumped along the road, $400,000 speed bumps installed all over the city while potholes are unfilled. $850 million in the city debt bumping higher and higher. The International Debt Rating Agency is concerned, and a downgraded rating by them can mean more public funds going on interest. All while the message coming out of council is that there's still headroom, and by the way, here's a bunch more spending, i.e. debt, we want, and here's a 50% rates hike over 3 years to boot. We must send someone to council to bump back. The mode shift disruption and expense must stop. The spending and debt must be reined in. The people must be listened to and represented on council. I will do that. Vote 1, Horiana for Hamilton East.
And thank you for that. And thank you to all our candidates for taking their time out here on this public holiday to sit down there and get this across. And thank you for making yourself available. It's not easy to put your name forward. Now, I do know Hamilton's a bit new to the voting system, STV. Now, because this is a by-election, things operate a little bit differently to a normal election. I do know that both Hamilton East and Hamilton West wards have 6 councillors. In a normal election, a candidate would require approximately 15% of the vote after redistributed first preferences to cross the line to become a councillor. But in this by-election, things are a little bit unique. With votes, the threshold, because there's only one position available, is 50% of the vote plus 1. This election will be decided by your second, your third, your fourth preference sort of votes will be the things that will decide this election. Because with STV, when the last candidate is eliminated, and the votes are redistributed, that will keep going. In 2019, in Wellington City Council, Andy Foster just won the mayoralty by, it was about 30-something votes. It was one of the closest STV votes in New Zealand history. And if you looked at every previous iteration until the last, Justin Lester was the one winning. So second and third and fourth precinct votes are very vital. So when it comes to your voting paper, don't just look at who is for your number 1, but look at who you're going to put as your number 2, number 3, number 4. Basically work on there as a wish list of who you most want on council down to who you least want on council. And if you don't want them on council at all, in New Zealand, you don't have to rank them. Also, something I would like to sit there and put on here, and it's a bit of a crowdfunding sort of thing here. It's in the Ballot Productions, which runs these events. We do this on a volunteer basis, and many of it is funded by our own many of our own members' pockets. A good example is the fact that this hall hire has cost us $200. Now, that's all right. Susan from All Saints Community, brilliant person, very great to deal with, and that's why we feel that this has become our Hamilton home. She has been very good, can flicker an email, hey, we've got this going on, here's the times, and back to it, yep, that's free, let's book it in. So she has sat there and done that. If you want to, if you're online, we've just flicked up our bank details on the screen, and that I can also post it onto the website. And for those who are here, you're welcome for a gold coin donation. And I did bring the FPOS machine for my coffee cart up here. So if you've got an FPOS card, we can sit there and do that. I do know we budgeted for our fuel bill to come from Wellington up here and back with the gear. It was $250. So that's what but it's a good price for democracy. as we can sit there and say there. And also, if you've gone to Eventbrite and you want to, you can also do a donation ticket, and the donation tickets are available for the next 2 weeks after the show. So doing that, can we please thank Paul Barlow, who has come all the way from the other side of the Auckland Harbour Bridge. I mean, I'll put it this way, I've come from the other side of the Terrace Tunnel, you came from the other side of the Harbour Bridge, and thank you for meeting us here.
It's easy to meet halfway when it's in Hamilton. It's a great place.
Yeah, can we also thank Nick and Catherine for running the cameras for this show, and thank you, Ian, in studio here being our on-site editor, and thank you to Stacey for being our remote editor. And also thank you to Jill for being our candidates liaison, for sitting down there and managing to get all these candidates here and doing the ringing around and all that sort of stuff. It's a lot of work, and it's brilliant, the sort of tasks that you can sit there and do. It's not easy to sit there and pull these off, but thanks for doing that. And Hamilton, thank you for welcoming us to your community again. We are planning to, for 2025 local bodies, to bring this show to the Hamilton community, because you have made us feel so welcome. And you're probably the best city outside of Wellington that supports this platform. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for coming. And, you know, you're the ones who sit and do it. Make sure you get your votes out there. It's the 17th of February. I want to check that's right with candidates. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember. I've got 2 by-elections to cover, and I think they've got the same date. So make sure you get them get those voting papers in. And I'd also like to thank Deputy Mayor what's her name, Angela O'Leary, for sharing our first stream of the show, and I'm pretty sure she'll do the same thing again for the second stream. Thank you, Angela, for doing that, and thank you for doing your sharing our content. It's not easy trying to get our content out there. It's not an easy game, but thank you for doing that. As we say, these are the ways we introduce new audiences. So for watching, make sure you get out and vote, and we will see when the next by-election comes up for the next show, wherever it happens in the country, or at next local body elections. Have a good evening.